Welcome to episode 567 of the My 123 Cents podcast. That means if you're keeping count at home, we are just 52 weeks away from episode 619. My quest to get Rey Mysterio or Dominic Mysterio on this podcast is alive and well. But in the meantime, we're going to have to settle for my old buddy, Tyler Heath Hatton.
Huh,
Tyler Heath, what's up, man?
what's
It's
going on?
I figured I'd break out the Tyler or the Heath Hatton shirt to commemorate.
Well, you're cutting my abs off, but that's all right.
Do
There
you
it
remember?
is.
So this shirt, this was like early days of AAPW, wasn't it? Or even before that?
Yeah, that one was I had a red one made and it was my original one. And then I had a buddy of mine make that one and he just made it on his own.
Mm.
Just a friend of mine. He made them and then he just kind of made money off of me. But I mean, he was my best friend from high school. So I mean, he and we're still friends to this day. But he did it. He made it on his own, and he found a picture of me in my underwear, and that's what we went with.
Well, I was going to ask because, nowadays everybody seems to have merch and selling stuff. But back in those early days of AAPW when we first met, I don't remember there being a whole lot of guys that were selling stuff. How important do you think that is to getting over or, kind of staying relevant in the local markets?
I don't really think it's relevant back then. It honestly, like when I sold my red shirts, and when I sold stuff like pictures. I mean, back when you're starting out, you don't get paid anything. Like you
Mhm.
just don't make any money. And I mean, selling two shirts is $40. Sometimes that's more than you got paid back in the
Oh,
day.
wow. Wow.
And I mean, or selling three or four pictures. So that's kind of where you would make your money. And so that was starting out as a young kid, especially when you're like, I hate to be that way, but when I was popular and I
Mhm.
sold quite a bit of shirts, which is a funny story. About 6 or 7 months ago, year ago, we were at Goodwill and we saw one of my shirts there, and I'm like, that shows where my fame has gone.
That is funny. That is funny. Well, you mentioned popular, and this is going to be. I know you're going to laugh about it and whatever, but this is going to be the Kevin kisses up to Tyler segment of the show.
You
Because
can do that the whole time.
yes, I will try to. I'm going to tell a story from back in the day for me, but tie it to Tyler, because as people probably can figure out, I'm not the most athletic or popular guy myself, and I've always used wrestling and Star Wars, kind of those things to bond and um, I was back in high school, and I'm bringing this story up because one time, actually more than once, I had some people on Facebook that were kind of they were joking around, but you didn't know if they were being serious or if they were joking around. And you actually said, "Do you need me to take care of this for you?" And I remember that, and it has stuck with me. But it reminded me of when I was in high school in PE class. We were playing volleyball, and I wasn't obviously was not very good. And there were these kids on my team that were giving me crap about missing the ball or whatever. So then I started doing it on purpose and kind of just to annoy them. Well, at the end of PE, we go back into the locker room to dress back into our regular clothes, and they like surround me. There's three of them, and they all circle around me, and they're like giving me shit, and they're hey man, why were you screwing up? And I'm like, it was just a stupid volleyball game. And out of nowhere, this guy who was a senior, I was a sophomore, this guy who's a senior, who was a big wrestling fan, who we had never talked before, but he dressed up like the Macho Man on career day. That's how into it he was. And he was kind of built like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell back in the day. He comes walking in and he's like, leave this guy alone. And I stuck up for me. Or stuck up for me, and I really thought this guy was gonna like throw down and start beating these guys up for me. But it reminded it, when you said that one time, and I've always uh, viewed you as a good friend, but someone that is outside of my normal class of friends, if you will, as far as like that cool factor. You've always been that it factor, and
Well,
you talked about popularity, and I think you know when we get to the stride talk here in just a few minutes, when we're back in that building, and obviously the crowd will go wild, and I just want to say again how much I've appreciated the friendship, but then also the years of memories and the things that I've been able to do through wrestling because of you and the ideas that you've had and kind of convincing other people to let this middle-aged nerd look better than he really is. So thank you for all of that.
Well, I definitely carried you amongst the years and gave you the money that you needed to be able to support your podcast. But no, it's funny. Kids at school nowadays, we would say we're cool or popular, but kids today say, like like you're tough. Like that's their big thing is you're tough. So anyway, it's weird for me because I wear jumpsuits every day to work and I don't dress up. I have a white beard now. I'm old. And the kids always tell me I'm tough. Like you're so tough. And I just and now Paisley, my stepdaughter, goes to school where I go and she says, kids love you. They think you're and I but I at heart am I've always been a nerd. I think because I've always been really athletic and good at sports, so that I think when you're in high school or school, when you're athletic, I mean, if you look at over here on this wall, the wall of me, there's a lot of sports and stuff on that wall, but I was very athletic, which made me popular. But I mean, Sam Hamlin will tell you, I would come in because we went through a period where we didn't have cable at our house. And so I would come in on Tuesday morning and ask Sam what happened on wrestling because we didn't have it. We had a class together and I sit next to Sam because I wanted to talk wrestling. And we had MSN Messenger, if you remember that. And so I would get on MSN Messenger after I knew Nitro or Raw was over, and I would message with Sam to see what happened because Sam watched it. It's funny to me because when people think that I'm cool or whatever, and I am, Star Wars tattoos, wrestling fan, I've always been more on the nerdy side. But I think just because I also with sports, I was always athletic, so that made me a little bit more um, appealing to the popular crowd because I. But I mean, on the other hand, in high school when I played basketball, I had long blonde, shaggy hair. I got technicals. I was an entertainer. Like I was more entertaining the crowd than I was actually probably playing the game.
With your students, do they talk about wrestling? I mean, obviously they know about it because we're doing this show at their school, but before that, because you've worked at a couple of schools now, do you find wrestling fans there now? Because obviously WWE is through the roof as far as mainstream goes now. And do they talk about it at all with you much, or
The way schools are now, it's really, man, I hate to say this, but it's really hard to let kids get to know you on a personal level
Mhm.
just because of social media and technology and so they yes, there are a few that come up and talk wrestling. I mean, I've had parents and me and actually my wife was just talking about this the other day. We had a kid move in. His dad messaged me, said he's a huge wrestling fan. He's had problems at his other school. So I bonded with him over wrestling. Like, that's kind of how I got him. He was kind of kept to himself, didn't have a whole lot of friends moving in at the time. So I used wrestling as a way. I brought him over during PE and we sat and watched one of my wrestling and matches and then we started talking and so yeah, Matt Jenkins that we know that,
Uh-huh.
his cousin or nephew goes to our school.
Oh, okay.
He's a huge wrestling, his name's Dax fan. So me and him talk. Now kids will make comments like, Coach Hatton's mad, don't body slam us. Some of the older high school boys will be like in PE, will you teach us body slams today? Will you put it, and so there is that. Now I will tell you the younger kids, the elementary kids, they like I'm John Cena to them. So
Mhm.
like when I come in the gym, or in the commons, my daughter and Paisley will both be, oh my God, those little, I mean, they come running over and they talk to me. So to them, yeah. But the kids that I teach, not really. I mean, usually like I teach driver's ed. I show them all my WWE match. They all
Mhm.
want to see it by the end of it. But um, you know, you know me, and I joke, but I really, honestly, it's probably a downfall of mine. I don't like to talk about myself. I really don't like attention that much. I joke about it with my friends.
Right.
But at school, like, my Rachel all the time is like, he's being modest. He did this or he did that. So with the kids, I don't like to brag about it. Now there are times when I will jokingly say to them, well, I was on TV. What have you done? Or something like that. But for the most part, no, I'm uh, but I will say I make TikToks with them as far as I got them this year to allow me to make a crab orchard TikTok page.
Oh,
And
no.
so I make TikToks with the kids, and I think I do have that with them. So I do, like, obviously there's not too many kids at the school that hate me or that dislike me, I would say, because I do fun stuff. But as far as wrestling, the kids that I have, I'm not really. I'm just a white, grumpy old man to them most of the time. So,
Well, with having kids there, how are your kids with you, with this certain level of, celebrity, if you will?
it's they don't really say much. Jada, she grew up around it,
Mhm.
and so she kind of knows it. She's always, Paisley, on the other hand, she's more fascinated that everybody knows me.
Mhm.
Like we went to Mackey's last weekend, and a guy came up and started talking to me, and then we went to. I'm trying to raise money to get a weight room, and we went to one of Wyatt's cross country meet, and a guy walked up and he offered to give me money,
Mm.
and he knew me and he started talking wrestling, and so like to them. They always say that what I teach my kids is, how does a kid from North City make it to WWE? And like, I feel like I have a different mindset where, like, if I put my mind to something, I can do it. So I'm all the time like, you got to do this. You have to outwork everybody. And so they think I'm more like annoying with
Mhm.
it because I'm more like with Jada, did you go to the gym today? Did
Mhm.
you pitch today? Did you hit today? Like, did you do this? And same thing with, like, I'm like that with Paisley. Wyatt is running cross country, and Wyatt, he's my stepson. He's more like me. I mean, he runs at 6 a.m. every morning.
Mm.
He runs after school as well.
Wow.
And he is, he's more like, I'll show him something, like he has like a leg thing, so I show him how to foam roll or how to do stuff. And I come in the other day and he's doing it. So he's more like me, why the girls are more like, I'm annoying,
Mhm.
And so, but as far as, I think because everybody likes me at the school, student wise, the girls like that, like, my daughter's boyfriend, I had him in class. And so, I mean, there's certain things, like that, which I will say that's probably the one thing I'm most proud of is, like, he has told people I'm the same person at home that I am at school. Like,
Mhm.
I don't like,
Yeah.
yeah, like how I act with the students and the things I do is no different than how I act at home with
Mhm.
my family. So,
Well, you mentioned the weight room and school, and that's why we're here to talk is about the, return of Stride Pro Wrestling. It's becoming an annual tradition of doing a fundraiser at Crab Orchard School. Now, is this gonna be for the gym or for the, weight room stuff?
no, this is actually for the basketball team.
Oh, okay.
So I again, somebody that I've known over the years is, is coaching. You know, I coach high school basketball now, so I'm the high school basketball coach. And a guy that I know coaches another school. Anyway, long story short, he knows somebody who knows somebody, and we have an opportunity for Crab Orchard to play El Dorado. We did a show at El Dorado at the high school a few years ago, but anyway, we have an opportunity to play them where the Indiana Pacers play on the NBA court.
Oh, wow.
So we'll get to take the boys to the NBA game, and then after the game, we will play.
Oh, sweet.
So now how it works is we have to buy tickets for the players. We have to stay in a hotel, or there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Sure.
So when that opportunity was presented, I'm like, how cool would that be for the boys to get to play on an NBA floor? And so anyway, all this money is going towards that. Everything we're trying to raise is to pay for the hotel and the tickets to all of that. And so that's where last year when I did the fundraiser, I took the money and gave it to different groups.
Mhm.
Hopefully I make enough this year to do that as well, to give it, whether it's the volleyball team or the softball team or the baseball team. I think I gave some to the baseball team last year, some to the softball team last year, and then some to the, I think, I don't remember, another group, maybe Pep Club. But anyway, so that's what that is. That is where all this is going to go, is basically hoping to get this trip funded so these boys can go do that.
When is that? Is that coming
That
this
January 2nd.
January? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, hopefully, and I know you had a group of them out over the weekend selling tickets at Backyard Burger. How was that?
It so I actually planned on sometimes in my older age, uh I forget, you know, just like I feel like technology has taken away a lot from kids, and it takes away from me and everything. But we took them, and my wife came, and she came because I forgot chairs for the boys, and she came, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, they're having such a good time." They're out by the road, and these are high school boys. They're holding signs, and they're dancing and getting people to, and so after about an hour, I went and I was like, "You guys want to go?" They're like, "No, this is like, high school talk. This is low key fun, you know." And so anyway, we ended up staying for almost 3 hours,
Wow.
because they wanted to stay. And so I think I had other things I needed to do, but I felt like they're out, they're doing this, they're not on their phones, they're not inside, they're actually having fun doing this. So me and I'm friends with Ram, the owner of Backyard Burger, and Rachel. We just The three of us just sat there and watched these guys sell it. No, they sold. We actually, sadly, not sadly, but we had more donations than we did ticket sell. People would just stop and give us $20, give us $40, whatever. They would just stop and give them money, and so that they raised. I think we had about $500 that we made yesterday just from sitting there. And we did sell some tickets, but like most of what we got was just, I think they saw these kids on the side of the road and they felt bad and they just gave them money. But
Well, that
um,
probably gives them a sense of pride too, knowing that they're not just being handed this trip, that they're actually putting in some work and some effort to raise money for it.
yeah, I mean, I think they really, since I've been at Crab and knowing people, they haven't had an overnight trip in athletics in a long time, and they've never done anything like this. And so I think, and they all, obviously, they're basketball players, so they love the NBA, and it's given them a sense of like they really want to go.
Mm.
And I've told them, like, the school is being gracious and letting us go and trusting us to go stay in a hotel and go travel, but we got to pay for it. And so I think they know, like, if we don't raise this money, he's not going to let us go. So they are going out and they're making me pretty proud. So the way that they've done stuff.
Well, talk to us about the show. What can we expect? I know Farmer Billy Hills will defend the championship against Axe Albert, an old rival of yours. We've seen some great matches between these two, and you know, not only between them, but with you yourself, with Axe, probably your greatest rival in stride, in my opinion. But what else can folks expect on Friday, October 10th?
Oh man, there's the return of Wraith and Riser will be there. I'm pretty excited about that. Last year I tried to get them both. I'm pretty sure one of them had a concert, and then Riser's in the military, and he had a military thing he had to be at, so he could not make it. Justin Durst, he's coming to defend the title. Bull Bronson will be there. Beautiful Brian Richards, Roger Mathis, Jay Spade. Um,
The
man, what's that?
boys.
The boys will be there with a Z. I messed up on their thing, so I apologize. Derek from the boys, he's actually from Crab Orchard. So he
Oh,
graduated from Crab Orchard. He actually had a trip planned. He was pretty bummed that he's able to make it now. Peyton Ayers will be there. Savion will be there. I'm pretty excited about it. I tried to put together Frank Edwards will be there. I've tried to put together um, matches of people or bring people that I think understand what a school show is.
mhm.
A school wrestling show is not like other shows. Most school shows, like I feel like they a lot of school shows people don't know what they're coming to see.
Mhm.
They just usually know it's a fundraiser that has been pushed and pushed and pushed at the school to come, and it's an event. And I kind of realized that last year we also did donkey basketball at our school,
Oh, cool.
and but I can remember the kids talking, and then myself even. I had done it before at another school, but anyway, a lot of the kids and the people in the community didn't know what it was.
Hmm.
But I think in wrestling is the same thing. I think they think like, "Oh, I came here, back in 1972, Macho Man came and wrestled, so and so here." And I think that's a lot of what they think. But the kids, I think they're watching and they're like, "Is John Cena showing up? Is Roman Reigns?" And so anyway, I will say back in the day, Jerry Travelstead had it down to an art
Yeah.
because, they knew what it was and they figured out like they Jerry wrestled, but over time, when it first started, it was like the kids were there to see Josh Plumley wrestle, Jerry Travelstead wrestle, and they did a really good job of wrestling and doing it. But then after a while, then they were coming to watch Heath Hatton, Red Daniels. They grew to hate a Tony Flood or whatever. They
Yeah.
grew to hate a Dexter Roswell. They had grown, like they knew the characters. And I feel like the other school shows that we normally do, I try to get teachers to wrestle to help bring in a crowd. And I think like at Crab last year, like they were there to see Mr. Hatton, which was very weird because I kind of realized that is I'd always been Heath Hatton and getting into that character and that person. But at Crab Orchard, like I realized like I was Josh Plumley, I was Jerry Travelstead. The students do not, they see me as the driver's ed teacher
Oh, yeah.
They
That
don't s they don't see me as a pro wrestler,
yeah,
and, so it which, in hindsight now, looking back and seeing it and going into this year, I realized, like, I mean, just I have a paper in my console right now where I'm supposed to have another MRI done, and I keep putting it off, because I'm, like, hoping that after the wrestling show, if I gotta have another knee surgery, I'll do it then. But I've realized my body is completely broken down, and, so when you wrestle as a teacher, you don't have to do much, it's like, and I realized over the years, like, tagging with you, you didn't do much, you just let me you just let me get it was like, I think it was a while ago, you shared, one of our where we set up for the show, and it's like you took the hot tag, but I'm like, we have this 20-minute match, and 17 of it's me getting beat up, and then I tag you in, and you come in and do all your stuff, and I'm like, and we set up the match, and I'm like, man, he sat on the side and didn't do anything, and then I let him come in and hit some clotheslines and a choke slam, and but no, but but that was no at the what to expect. I'm excited, what to expect. I think people really put it a couple people messaged me and they really put it in perspective. Some of the guys that I booked and the guys that are coming and they had said, we're all really excited. Like I can remember when we did the APW show for Curly,
yeah,
having those guys back, there was kind of a buzz. And even to us, like to me, AAPW is where I got my start. It is my first taste of like real wrestling in Southern Illinois. My real first taste of indie wrestling, I guess. And so when we think AEPW, I think that's what we think. And when we did that reunion show, having Sean and Ed and Mike Masters and Jay Wells or Gaylord Axe, all these people, like it was like, okay, that's so cool. And then I realized talking to these people, like some of these guys, they were like, we need to do more stride shows and I realized like to them, stride is to them what a APW was
yeah,
um, to us. And I think I told you, I think I probably sent pictures about a little over a year ago. I had met with a guy 2 or 3 times who wanted to bring Stride back and wanted um, you know, he had offered a lot of money to buy a ring, get a building. He even looked at buying a building.
oh,
And
wow,
that's how big and like invested he was, and he really thought he could make money at it. And we met a few times and looked at a couple buildings, and then I like it took me a long time to understand and realize that I hate to compare it this way, but you look at like an Adam Pierce or like a Triple H, they love producing, writing, being backstage, helping people. And like they have no desire to go get in a ring and
mm,
do it. They can be around it and they have no desire. But then you watch like Undertaker and he's like, I can't go because I want to get out there
yeah,
and perform. And like that's my mentality.
mm,
Like, I've realized that over the years, like, I wanna go, like, watch my friends and these people do things, but, like, I wanna perform. And I don't think I can anymore. Number 1, I like pizza, and so I eat a lot of it, and I don't wanna take my shirt off. But I could wrestle, with a shirt on, but I've realized, like, it's really hard for me not to wanna get out there and perform. And I'm at a place where, and that's what I told the guy. Like I'm at a place where I can't perform. I can't wrestle. I can't commit enough to do that. I mean, athletic director. I coach multiple things. My kids. Anyway, I'm like I can't. So anyway, um, he gave up on it, and actually, I think he invested in some, like, in I'm pretty sad, but I think like, I mean, he and when I and I'm not bragging or whatever, but he wanted to invest about $50,000
Good cow.
into doing something. And anyway, he invested it into a dirt bike four-wheeler thing where he invested it all into this track and all this stuff. So anyway, but I had told him, I told him about other companies too, but he really wanted to work, I think, with me. But the Stride Show coming back is, I think it's perfect for if we do it once a year. And that's my plan, is to do it once a year. Other schools have reached out, and I've told them about other companies, and they've asked wanting to do shows, and I just like I can't do it. I can't go out there. I can't wrestle. I don't think I could even wrestle 5 times a year, I mean, I think, maybe once I get my knee fixed, and I have my knee surgery, again, and go through that, then I think I could maybe, but then on the other hand, I'm old. So, and I don't have you to carry me
That's
anymore in our tag team battles.
For the record, I was a year younger than you are now when I had my first match, so I was 30.
Well, look at you now.
Look at me now. So you are wrestling on the 10th with another teacher, is that right?
Yes, 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 that's
Talk about him
correct.
and what you guys, because you're facing off against Spade and Jay Spade and Roger Mathis.
Yeah, so his name's Caleb Vaughn. He actually played professional basketball. And just recently he was on American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he was on there. So he's really popular. Kids really like him, obviously. Last year, before he left to go film, because he had to go to Las Vegas and film for a week.
Oh wow.
So we surprised him with a send off, and I made an American Ninja Warrior course in the gym, and he went against another student, and he's really popular, really nice guy, 6'6", athletic, and so last year we had another teacher, Mr. Lowry, that helped, and trying to I try to find the different teacher every year to do it and hopefully ones that are the kids like and so kids really like him. He's a really great guy. So I think going back to what I said about Jerry Travelstead and their school, when they did this every year, it was you thought Jerry Travelstead and you thought Tony Flood, like that was the rival. And
Yeah.
so I think what I'm trying to build is you think Heath Hatton or Coach Hatton, Mr. Hatton, you think Jay Spade and Roger Mathis. So like who's gonna wrestle those two? Like and so that's my thought process is like I think they're the perfect fit for a school because I think Jay really understands kids, really understands like to be goofy and stupid, and like the kids want to laugh at you, and then Roger literally just has to stand there,
Yeah.
and kids are going to be scared of him. He don't got
Right.
to say anything. I mean, the minute he walks out, he's going to scare kids half to death. And he's a sweetheart of a man, so I mean, he understands the school side of it, and he understands the like it doesn't matter. I mean, it's I mean, Roger just won a tournament
Yeah.
yesterday, and that a real, a real fight, where he goes out and has to fight somebody else. So I think he's finally figured out that, or not finally, but he understands going to these schools. He's going there. We're going there to entertain these kids and get,
Hmm.
it's not like when I was younger and I went to these shows or wrestled. It kind of mattered what you did, and like I think now, and that's the thing. That's why I realized at first I was going to wrestle Axe. I was going to be selfish I was gonna wrestle Axe, and then I realized like Axe is coming, and he's not getting to wrestle Heath Hatton. He's going to have to wrestle Mr. Hatton, and it really is two different things. And so what we can do, like, as far as school appropriate as a teacher, what I'm able to do in my match,
Yeah.
or whatever, is completely different. So anyway, I don't. I'm very particular in who I book, and also Cash Borden will be there too.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, he'll be there. And yeah, he'll be there, and so I really try to book people. Um, gosh, sounds really mean, that I like,
Mhm.
that I want to be around, that I want to see. That's, to me. I don't know about you, but like that's what I miss most about Stride and having wrestling is, I was just telling, me and you spoke on the phone a couple months ago, and when I got off the phone, I remember telling Rachel, I was like, man, I haven't seen Kevin in a long time. I haven't seen, I need to have him, I had to meet him for dinner or something. But the one thing I miss about wrestling is just not seeing people, is
Right.
not talking to people. And so I tried to invite people or ask people to wrestle that I missed, that I haven't seen in a long time.
Well, and I just got on the Stride Facebook page. If you haven't already followed that, we've got Curly and David Lee Walker facing each other. Um, Justin Durst defending the No Limits Championship with Jeff King, Cash Borden, and I don't have my glasses on. Tyrone,
Tyrone, yeah.
which fun fact, he was the referee in the cage match with Roger and I back in the day. I think he was still training at that time.
Yeah.
You mentioned Wraith and Riser, they're taking on the boys. Uh, Caleb Vaughn and Heath Hatton against Jay Spade and Roger Mathis, and then the heavyweight championship, Farmer Billy Hills and Axe Allward. Those are the matches that have been announced so far. Um, was
And
it?
Peyton Ayers and Savion will be there. I haven't made a graphic for that yet. They will be there. I think they're tagging together. It's so sad. I've made the card, and the card is on my work computer.
Oh, God.
And and so um yeah, I was a little um yeah, I have the card, and I have who all is going to be there, but I left it all on my I even had a little microphone to wear when we talked,
Oh, nice.
so I could be professional, and then I completely just,
You still sound good, so.
well, I know. I look good. I sound good. Yeah, yeah. I forgot Friday I had a PE conference, and so I wasn't at school, and I forgot all my stuff.
It was it hard? Is it hard convincing, or was it hard back in the day convincing the school to do a wrestling show? Because even though it is very mainstream now, and it has been for years, but it still has that stigma, I think. And then I think there's probably some people that are still in the mentality of it's, crotch chops and dick jokes and all of that. But has the administration there at your school and even convincing, Mr. Vaughn, for example, to do this, was that hard to do, or were they already on board with it?
No, it wasn't hard. I mean, to be honest, the hardest thing to convince last year was getting the teachers to bring their students down for the pep rally.
Oh,
Because
God.
I do a pep rally where I set up for the match to kind of show the kids what it is,
Yeah.
because in case they don't know, that was probably the hardest thing to convince, was to let me do that in front of the school. And but and then this year, I think last year, um, this year I set it up to have it on an 11 o'clock dismissal, so that way we can do it, and then we go on fall break.
Oh,
So I tried to set it up so that way we did it, and then the kids left for a week, and maybe after the show they'll forget about it before they come and fight in the locker room. But I think, as I've gotten older, I've realized, I don't want to say, I'm known as being Heath Hatton. I think more than I really like cared to think. It's like there's sometimes you've messaged me and you've been in Walmart and people don't recognize you from WSIL, they recognize you from
Right.
wrestling.
Yeah.
And there are times I think, especially being on WWE and doing the things that I got to do, I'm recognized as that. So anyway, when I, as a teacher, like the members of the school board and stuff, they know me as being a former pro wrestler, and I think that they like that, because I think at the end of the day, it gives me talking points with the kids. You can chase your dreams, you can do this, whatever it is, go do it. But the school, I think I've built a reputation, and we built a company where, regardless of whatever, people respect me, the workers respect me. Knock on wood, we've done how many school shows? We've never had an incident. We've
Mhm.
never had a problem. Biggest problem we had is a fan threw and hit Red Daniels in the head with a water bottle. you know,
Yes. Yeah, and her mom was so pissed at her.
Yeah. So I mean, that's like the biggest, so I think a lot of the people are, a lot of the workers, I think I've earned their respect over the years, so they know to go out and handle the crowd the right way. And, um, certain things like I need to put guardrails up this year because last year I wasn't thinking kids went all around the ring and, to get close to us. That was a liability, waiting to happen. But luckily, all the people involved, Roger, Spade, they recognized that, so they were very careful around the kids. But no, that was, I think, a voice of concern was like, don't let the kids around the ring. But there, um, now before when Stride first started and I was trying to get into West Frankfort and Johnson City and Woodlawn and all these places that we went, when I went to these board meetings, yes, it did get awkward because some of the members did not like it. I mean, I'll tell you this, I went to one board meeting and the superintendent had said, well, I just think it's going to cause a lot of kids fighting in the bathroom and just fighting and arguing, and I don't want to do it. A member of the board said, "Well, guess what? It's not your decision."
Oh, wow.
And I'm just sitting there. And then they voted to have it.
Nice.
And then, but anyway, the superintendent, when we came, well, leading up to it, they had tried to say we had to have workman's comp insurance. They did a lot of things she did to try to fight it. Luckily, I had Jerry, and Jerry got involved, and Jerry kind of cleared the path for it to happen. Um, but then that superintendent ended up leaving. But anyway, so stuff like that has happened with
Mhm.
trying to get wrestling shows. And I think, um, you know, being able to really push family friendly, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, it's going to be this. And now I do know, like, I do toe the limit, like at Gallatin County. Like I didn't ask if I could get put through a chair or through a table. I just did it,
Yeah.
and so stuff like that. You like there's a certain line that I try to toe with, where it's like it is wrestling, and I am a wrestler. I do love wrestling, and so I do want to stay true to that because I think, I mean, that's why, I mean, I've always said I never wanted to have a real job.
Mhm.
I know you don't work, but I never wanted to, I always wanted to be a wrestler. That's all I ever wanted to be, was a professional wrestler. And as long as I could remember, that's what I wanted to be. And and then now I'm a teacher, but I do try to stay true to the fact of the business side of
Yeah.
things.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, you can get tickets at Crab Orchard School in Marion, Illinois, or just come out the night of. Tickets will be available at the door. We had some folks asking that on Facebook as well. Message our Facebook page and ask to. We'll be sure to set you in the right direction. Anything else, Tyler, before we wrap up this week's episode?
No, people have asked too. Yeah, you can get tickets at the door. So we're not really reserving seats. So just yeah, you can get tickets at the door. They are $10 a piece just for everything. There'll be plenty of seating. Show starts at 7. It'll be about 2 hours long. So 6 matches. And come out and maybe Kevin will get in the ring and dust off his my tights and maybe we'll but it'd be a good family friendly event. So I'm in case anybody wonders, I still am the champ of everything. So still keep all these, and sometimes I just come in here and put my wrestling trunks on and put the belt on and reminisce the glory days.
We'll need pictures of that the next time. So, once again,
Actually, I am looking right now in my from the last time that I wrestled. This is kind of my man cave room, and like it's all my Darth Vaders and stuff. But over there in the corner is my wrestling bag, and I can see my wrestling trunks sitting on top of them. Where either they haven't been washed, and I put them up there, or they have, or Rachel washed them and put them on top of there. But
we'll go with that one.
yeah,
That sounds more sanitary.
it does.
All right, man. Thanks so much for being here, friends. Thank you for listening and or watching, and we will see you next time and on Friday, October 10th.